my curfew time fluctuated based on how well I did in school. So if it was a good term, add maybe like 30 minutes, add another 15 minutes to that.
And then it would go back down.
And then if I did bad, then you pull it back down.
9:30. You better be home by 9:30.
I don't think...
Hey, you guys.
Hello.
A happy post-Turkey Day.
Yeah.
Turkey week.
Yeah. Thank you guys for giving us the week off.
Yes.
To spend time with our families. We hope that you guys had... Okay, if you guys had like drama-filled Thanksgivings, please submit it.
Yes.
Like DM us, email us.
Yeah.
Or you guys can like fill out on Spotify the little like need advice, like submit here thing.
Yes.
So yeah, just pro tip. We've been getting some questions on there, and so we'll get to all of you guys very, very soon.
Yes. Well, I feel like even at work when I'm like my buffering,
You're buffering.
I don't say I just like do like a do.
You do. You do.
No,
like
no,
you're
no.
literally. Oh, that was
like,
wrong.
It's like fa la 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 la. Like do. Like fa la 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 la. But I bring this up because I was gonna tie it to music. And I don't want to share the exact story, you guys, but I just will say like I just love the way that I think. And we had a Friendsgiving.
Yes.
And it was very validating, or it made me very happy that my close friends could also understand the way I think. And I feel like you guys mentioned this when we were playing code games, which I was having the time of my life playing code games because...
Code names.
Oh, my God.
I was like, did I hear that correctly? And then you said it again incorrectly.
And again.
Yeah.
Code names. Oh, my bad. I haven't looked at the box enough because I bought it to play with people and there's nobody to play it with. So you guys, I bought code names in August.
And you haven't played until now?
Yeah, I bought it in August because you had to remove the wrapper.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I literally opened it.
And Hannah had to pop all the cards out of the stencil-y thingy.
Yeah.
So I was just like super happy to play board games that I bought for myself a while back.
No, it was very funny.
It was, yeah.
I was like, oh, Julie.
Hannah's team won all 4 times.
Dude, it was like... It was kind of bad. Like I was like, guys, I want you guys to win at least once. Like, here's a pity. No, we just crushed it.
Yeah, that happened. But I guess not update, but I went to Seattle for the first time. Yup, I went to Seattle. Well, I guess if you guys follow us on Instagram, you guys can tie that into when I posted on our story, Seattle Rex, which thank you so much for all the recommendations. I feel like, okay, for me, this trip, the purpose was just to go see my friend. It wasn't really to explore the area. Like, I just wanted to spend quality time with her.
Right.
And so I didn't really plan the trip. But I feel like I ended up doing a lot.
Oh.
Like Gasworks check, good seafood check, Umbien Caribbean sandwiches, which people recommend. Like when you go, you'll hear 2 famous places, but the locals, my friends who live there, said Umbien tasted a lot better.
Oh,
so
I
there,
see.
check Piroshki check. Oh my God, here we go. I hope like this is not spoiling anything for anybody, but I will say like I feel like a lot of my friends definitely posted that Pike Place picture like in high school, or like in college.
Sign.
Like I feel like I'm late to the game. How come nobody talks about the pig that symbolizes Pike Place?
I have no idea what pig you're talking about.
There are these like pig statues everywhere.
Oh,
and I'm sure the locals know this, but tell me why the name of the pig, like the pig has a name, number one, and the name of the pig is Rachel. The pig's name is Rachel.
Oh my gosh.
So I just had to get my sister. So I wasn't planning on going to the first Starbucks because I wasn't too excited about it.
Right.
But we had some time to spare, and so we got in line and we went in. It was actually pretty cool because they have a lot of merch that is only sold at that store. And there was a cup that had the pig and had the name Rachel on it. So surprise, surprise, my sister will be getting that for a Christmas present. So I got to wrap that up. But if you listen, you know what one of your Christmas gifts are. But I just had to get it because it said the name Rachel on it and it has the pig on it.
Oh gosh. Oh,
that
yeah.
was hilarious.
Let's go. But you were missed. I haven't seen you in a minute.
Because I feel like usually you're the one traveling.
Yeah. No, but you Girl, I have been
know.
okay guys, I have been yelling at Julie because she doesn't put all of her travel plans in our shared calendar, and I'm like, I need to know what you're doing at all times. Come on. Like, we share location, why not just share calendars at this point, right?
So we had dinner yesterday, and Hannah was so confused. I was like, oh, because I'm going to be gone tomorrow. Where are you going tomorrow? Oh, I forgot about that. But yeah.
Yeah, no, we're truly conjoined at the hip at this point.
Why don't we just check in, like, hip to hip?
Oh god. I don't know about that.
Why?
Thumbnail?
But do you want to share the highlight of our Friendsgiving? I don't know.
You share it. I have no idea what highlight you're thinking of.
What do you mean?
No, I do have an idea.
Okay, yeah. So you guys, I like to drink, like, I just like the vibe, right? Like,
Yeah.
I definitely don't drink like a lot, but I thought it was such a cute holiday like experience to pair off and make cocktails.
Yep.
And so we did that, and I just like randomized it, but somehow I think like out of the 4 teams, 2 of the teams were the same teams that we like split into for the pumpkin carving from last year.
Yeah.
Which, right? Like you and
Yep.
Michelle were. Yeah. So we each decided to take on different, they're called spirits, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, cool. Because I just kept saying spirit, but I was like, oh, what if like what I'm referring to is not a spirit? But anyways, so we all were assigned different spirits. And so Hannah took tequila, Hannah and Michelle took tequila, our other group of friends took gin, our other group of friends chose Kahlua. And then Julia and I, our guest who was on here a couple of weeks ago,
Yep.
we took Brett. Well, we ended up taking, I think like our assigned was brandy.
Right.
Or we weren't assigned. We chose brandy, but it was like brandy and wine.
Right.
And made a sangria. And the loser had to do all the dishes. And low key, I will say, low key, I was so scared it was gonna be mine and Julia's.
Right.
Because it was very, I think it was on the stronger side of all the drinks.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Sangria is. Yeah.
It was kind of strong, and like I feel like half the group they're not like drinkers.
right.
So,
like, I don't drink.
Yeah,
a
just
bunch
by
of us don't
default.
drink. Yeah.
Just by default, I thought because ours was kind of stronger. But anyways, the loser was Hannah.
That was your highlight, bro.
So that was I just wanted to be funny. Hannah and Michelle lost, but not because dude, the loser is
Oh my
Hannah.
gosh, you're so annoying. I did the punishment was you have to do all the dishes.
Yeah.
And so I did all the dishes.
but like I wasn't expecting you to do like my parents' dishes, but Hannah did like all of my parents' dishes. too.
Dude, I was cleaning your guys' iron. Like like what is that called?
The iron pan.
Oh, the casket. The iron
Okay, I was
casket.
gonna say casket, but that reminded me of like the coffin.
Yeah, no, literally. I'm like, wait, is it iron casket? You guys know
the
what
iron
the pan.
Yeah.
And I was so scared. I was so scared to clean it because I always get those TikTok videos of people being like, this is the proper way to clean your, like
Wait,
you're not supposed
you're supposed to like oil it down.
yeah,
no?
yeah, you're not like
Yeah.
supposed to like clean it. And so I was like,
Yeah.
oh god, I think I'm doing this
I don't think
wrong.
I've ever touched that pan.
because it's so heavy, dude. My
Oh,
wrists were
yeah.
gonna break.
Yeah. No, yeah. Even when I volunteered to do dishes, like now, I'm just like, how are our mother's wrists all right? Because I'm just
No.
like, oh my God, my wrist.
No, truly, that's why I
Yeah.
I'm sitting
you
at
have,
the
yeah,
gym.
you have weak wrists
I have
too.
weak wrists. Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you so much for that. My parents were very appreciative. But anyways, yeah. So
Yeah.
that was my week.
Oh yeah, and then update for you guys.
Oh yes.
Nobody asked, but so with that jujitsu instructor that I was too scared to wink at.
yes. We all know.
Yeah, and so I was showing one of my roommates his Instagram, and I was like, oh, like here, wait, let me show you who I like talk about, right? Because like you're a visual person.
Yes.
You're a visual person.
I'm a visual person.
Yes, and I'm also visual, and
Yes.
she is also. And so I was like, let me give you the photo evidence.
Yes.
Bro,
What?
him and his girlfriend for sure broke up. All of their photos together are gone. I went through his tagged.
Yeah.
All the main ones are gone.
Yeah.
And so yesterday at 9:16 p.m.
Oh wow.
I hit him with a follow.
Yes.
And he has not followed me back.
Oh. Maybe he's like a check it once a day type of person.
Right. So I'm giving him like the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
But we'll see if there's progress.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. You got to give him until like 9:16 tonight. You know
okay.
what I mean?
Yeah, like a
Yeah.
full like 24
4
hours. Yeah. It's like Bumble.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Is it?
exactly. And speaking of potential guys to date, you guys
Slash
know
Mm-hmm.
that Julie took over my Hinge.
Yes.
She hijacked it.
Hijacking Hinge for Hannah?
Hannah's Hinge. Hijacking Hannah's Hinge.
Hijacking Hannah's Hinge.
Yep. Well, I'm hijacking it back. I'm jacking it back. Yeah.
Okay, this is your opportunity to say, well, you know who failed?
Julie Julie failed. Okay, well, I like to an extent understand because obviously you don't have as much investment in my love life apparently as I do.
I do.
But like it's like kind of hard when you're like already in a relationship. I know that you're busy, like you were just in Seattle and all of that, and so you like can't be like scrolling on Hinge all the time looking for these guys.
Yeah.
And so I've taken it back into my own hands because also I got a little scared because I was like, am I like, is this too like risky? Like, should I not be like risking my potential love life for like just like a fun activity?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes. It like obviously okay, like we didn't want to lie to this person's, right?
Right.
Like these people, like me pretend to be like you, and so we're like, oh yeah. And of course, like perfect timing, the voice memo part comes out, and so my voice was on there. So like there was a guy who like wasn't interested, right?
Right.
But like it was just kind of like question mark, like why? Because he connected. So like why does that change anything?
Right. Like once he found out that it was like you on the app for me.
Like I'm trying to understand, and maybe it's just like the idea that
like a friend.
maybe you weren't the one that liked him.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Like I was the one. But
guess.
like I mean he was like if you connected that means he was down anyways.
Right. At
So-
least like by my photos and my prompts, which
Yeah.
are still me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like I just like chose the photos, but you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a bit hard.
Yeah. Honestly, it has been hard. I think.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys can like confirm or deny this, but remember back in the day when we used to talk about like Hinge versus Coffee Meets Bagel, for example, like guys on Coffee Meets Bagel were like a little bit on the weirder side.
Yeah, like if he wanted to get married like 2-3 months later, like that was probably not weird, right?
Right.
On Coffee Meets Bagel. It was
Right.
like real serious and a bit older, mature crowd,
like
type
not
of,
as like hip, I would say.
yeah, traditional.
And so my theory is that all the people on Coffee Meets Bagel, because there aren't like as many girls on it,
Yes.
they've moved to Hinge.
Yeah.
And so that's all I'm getting these days is like people I'm like, oh, like you seem like a nice person, but maybe not for me. You know what
But
I mean?
would you say like the new like the Hinge is now Bumble?
Maybe, because honestly,
okay.
I think the people on Bumble have been better.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll see if I can,
Yeah.
you know, set up some dates.
Yes.
Yeah, because obviously
Yes.
Julie could not.
Yes.
But yeah, other than that, we just wanted to let you guys know that we are going to be going on a season break.
Yes.
We do this every season,
Yes.
obviously.
Nothing new.
You know?
But you know, it's like for your benefit too. You know, like we're going to make a bunch of memories, come back at you with so many life updates. Like I
Yeah.
feel like we have a lot like queued up.
No,
during our
we got plans on
very
plans.
short break.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And so we're going to be coming back on January 31st. That's
Yes.
enough time for us to just like, you know, take care of our mental health,
Yes.
make sure that we're making memories for us to talk about with you guys.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, if you guys have guests or topics that you want us to talk about, please go ahead, slide in our DMs, reply to that thing on Spotify, or just like email us.
Yes. Yeah. And just because we're going on break does not mean we're going to go MIA. We will still try to engage on Instagram, TikTok too, but especially on Instagram. Maybe we'll just be like live more with like, you know, stories throughout our day. Maybe Hannah will have a Hannah takeover day or week, and maybe I'll have one.
Yeah.
Because like I said, we have a lot of things queued up, so we'll be all over the place. So keep in touch.
And if you haven't, I just want to give a shout out to Diane real quick.
Yes.
guys, she has been killing it with our social media.
Yes.
You guys know that she has been handling all of that, and like the Christmas post regarding our bulgogi certified Christmas wish list
Yes.
was so amazing. And so if you guys are still on the hunt for those, but today we have Chris Cho on the podcast to just talk about growing up with strict parents, tiger parents, all of that good stuff. And so here is our amazing episode with Christopher Clancho.
Yes.
So you don't know what blue jays are?
No, only tangerines.
Bro.
Is that type of tangerine? Only tangerine I know are the cuties.
Like, you know, halos?
Halos, cuties.
Is that the same thing? That's not the same thing.
No,
I don't
but
know
There's a
what
halo, there's a cutie, there's a blue jay.
And blue jay is like supreme of
Well,
all tangerines.
Let me guess. They only sell at Erewhon.
No.
What
Guess
can-
again.
Whole Foods.
Guess again.
Are we thinking the same?
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
like
okay.
2 words.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Korean
Hannah's
market.
backyard.
Or like Korean markets.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Come on.
Okay, well now
Aren't
that
you
you
half
hyped
Korean?
now
What
that
are
you
you
hyped it
doing?
up, I gotta try this.
Happy blue jay season. Happy Korean pear season. And Kam season. Persimmons for all you uncultured people. But also, did you notice, like, slowly all of like the white supermarkets are stepping their fruit game up.
Oh,
Like
are
they
they?
are including persimmons.
Can we put the entire thing in your mouth?
This?
Don't laugh. Don't laugh.
Dude, he's gonna spit it back
Don't
up.
laugh. Don't laugh.
He's gonna spit it back up. Bro.
There's no space in there.
I can't. There's no space to move it. There's no space to move it to. I'm sorry. That was kind of gross. There was no place to move it to chew. I'm sorry.
Are there seats? Oh, okay.
I just have a kangaroo store.
Oh my god, that's so good.
Isn't it?
That's delicious, actually.
Yeah. Blue jays.
You
They
know,
have
my
a little blue jay on the box. That's how you know.
when I was little, I used to like hate this white stuff on there, so I used to pick it off. And my mom was like, "Oh, that's fiber. Like that helps you poop." And I just eat it anyway.
My dad told me it was like extra vitamin C.
It might be. I mean, I don't. I'm too lazy. I'm too tired to pull it off anyway. So I just.
Yeah.
You must
No.
eat the skin too.
I
There's a lot of
still
the white
do.
stuff in there. Are you guys both type A? I feel like you guys are.
Yeah, absolutely.
'Cause
I think Julie more so than I though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think it was really, really type A. And then I became super aware of what kind of person, like personality I identified as. And then I didn't really like that I was so type A. So then I had like a challenge my own personality phase. And then it's just like now, you know what? I am this way. Why try to fight it? What you resist persists type of thing. And so instead of trying to find somebody that is not like me and fitting into their mold, I try to just embrace my type anus. And
Anus.
don't laugh. But anyways, okay, so I feel like this might sound a little bit bad, but if like I'm just so not okay, now I'm not like so not adventurous. I guess like sometimes I am. Like sometimes. I'll still stay out until like 2 a.m. like 3 a.m.
Let's go adventurous.
Like New York.
That's
like we were out
adventurous.
until 3. Like that's adventurous to me.
Yeah.
And like not really risk taking because people who are like, let's just see where it goes. There's just a bigger chance you might have to start from square one again. And to me, that's just a bit like a setback.
Yeah, I know what
right?
you're saying.
So like you put all this energy, all this time, and maybe it's because I just value time so much. Like you invest, and like it's not that I would regret it. But in context of like dating somebody, like I think that's just why I tend to be a bit more particular with the types of people I go on dates with, or like how like when I was on the apps, how my selection process would work. Let's say I had to go on 50 dates by the time I met like the one. Like, wouldn't you think like by the 50, like 40s, even the 30s, like you'd be kind of worn out and tired, and the experience might not be as fun.
I could see that. Yeah, because
Yeah.
you're trying to find. I get what you're saying.
Like it's kind of like
I feel like that was a lot of points.
tyranny of choice.
Yeah.
Like the more options you see, like the more, I don't know, like less special everyone else
Yeah.
is. Like I
Yeah.
feel like at a certain point it's just like, oh, you have to kind of
Yeah.
like make a decision.
Yeah. So if you do have to make that decision, might as well make it like from a group of people that you actually would want to date or like have a
Right.
partnership with. So
Yeah. No, actually, like during our Friendsgiving, we took
Yes.
photos, right? And so I was showing my grandma photos.
Yeah.
And she goes, "Oh, everyone else is dating in this group except for you, huh?" And I went, Yeah.
And what?
And she was literally like, what? Like, why are you having such a hard time? And she was like, you're picky. Like, that's why. Like, that's why. And so I think like with like being type A, you know, you can tend to be a little bit more picky. But for you, Cho, would you say that you're type A as well?
I think I'm type A, but about like certain things. Like I'm not type A overall because like I feel like I'm always running late to stuff, or I'm always, you know, running last minute, running out the door trying to grab something. So my parents probably wouldn't like classify me as type A in that broad general sense, but or just people that know me. But I think in certain aspects, like I know for like work, I know I'm like I come off as type A. So
yeah, that makes sense. So what was your family dynamic like growing up? Like, can you give us like a bit of background on like what was Boy Scouts of America Cho like back
was it
in
like
the day?
growing up in a Cho household?
Yeah.
So I have a twin sister.
Who's older?
I am by 3 minutes. I never let her forget that either.
Wait, I actually did not know that you were older.
Yeah. Well, you can't come on at the same time.
That's not what I meant. Do you think?
Oh, you felt like she was older?
Yeah, I thought she was older.
Shoot!
No, let's break your mom.
there was a question could have been interpreted two different ways. So
Dude,
I took
nobody was interpreting it the way that you said.
Obviously, I was. Yeah, so it was just the two of us. Always had dogs around, and then my mom and my dad. My family dynamic in terms of how it related to like other people I was around. I feel like the moms tend to be on the stricter side, and then the dads were a little bit more laid back and less on top of it. And also might have been because both of my parents worked, but my dad was working full time, my mom was working part time, and then the other time she was taking care of me and my sister, so she was probably with us more than my dad, so she kind of you know saw all the antics, and you know she got tired of us sooner than he did in terms of what your threshold of tolerance for whatever kid behavior it is. So yeah.
Do you think your parents had a favorite kid?
I wouldn't say favorite. I think there was definitely in terms of like, but they made it clear, and both me and my sister knew who was better at one thing or who was better at the other thing. But I think overall, if you tallied up, if you want to play like a point game, if you tallied everything up, it would be pretty even. Like she always got a little bit leeway, I think, with things, just because she was like more on top of her stuff. I felt like she was like more responsible. But just in general, I feel like at that age, at the like teenage, these teenagers, the girls tend to be more responsible than the guys.
Yeah, that's why yours is like car insurance is so
crazy
high. Yeah.
I'm like at the last year where it's like I'm at the high premium, and then it should go down.
Congratulations.
So I've made it this far without getting any car accidents. So
that's amazing.
Knock on the wood.
That's amazing,
that's
considering how ridiculous of a driver he is.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, and his Infinity G.
You can't be telling people when I drive. They're gonna be looking. They're gonna be looking for.
Oh wait, with the puka shell necklace.
Wait, what?
He has like he's from Hawaii.
Oh yeah,
and so
yeah.
he has the necklace.
Yeah, how could you forget that, Julie?
I forgot. No, wait, did we share? Okay, so I mean, you're a returning, guest, and did we mention on the first episode, the one you were on before, how people and the cars that they drive? Didn't we mention this?
Oh yeah, we did.
And so what? It's okay if we mention what car you drive, because you're out here memorizing people's cars and their make and models and the colors.
Clarification: he's not memorizing. He has photographic memory.
Thank you. Somebody remembers the podcast, thankfully.
Oh, okay. Maybe our listeners will have auditory memory. Auditory memory.
Yeah. Right.
Auditorial, is that a word?
And someone's gonna wait. Who got called? Somebody recognized you at a restaurant, right?
Both of us.
But separate times.
But together yesterday, actually.
Oh really?
Yeah. Shout out Lauren. It was nice meeting you.
Yeah.
Lauren who?
We don't know.
Oh.
Lauren, who goes to UCLA and is a part of. This is too much.
Yeah, maybe too much.
I saw the car that she got in, so I was gonna share the car. But that's a little too.
It's rubbing off. I'm rubbing off on somebody.
You really are.
Yeah, that's a little too much. I'll keep
She's
that.
gonna have a little notepad and pen, and she's gonna start writing things down. License plate 818.
Oh my god.
Yes. No, wait. But I asked you if your parents had a favorite child.
Yes.
But do you secretly have a favorite parent?
No.
Are you sure?
Yeah. What I like, and you know, in terms of who's strict about what, I think it balances out. Because they're like strict or like
Yin and
strict
yang.
or easygoing. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
About different things.
Yeah.
No, exactly. Like
Your parents
literally,
do.
my dad, he didn't get mad often, but when he got mad, he was like, it was scary, you know? And
He's an
then
angry
my
Korean
mom
man.
was consistently scary growing up. At least growing up. And then,
But not
Yeah.
to the same level as when your dad did when he got
yeah,
really mad.
yeah.
Okay.
So I think it very much balanced out.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay.
I can actually, I think my dynamic is extremely similar to that one.
Oh, yeah?
Wait.
Like the everyday, like, do this, do that was mom.
Right.
But then dad would just be like, oh, like, whatever. And then, unless it was something really, really bad, like, they're calling out full first and last name. And,
Oh.
you know, dad's in the picture.
Yeah, Christopher Kwan show.
Yeah, dad's fuming. Like, you know the...
Kwan.
Kwan?
Quan?
Kwan.
Kwan. It's actually Kwan, but
But-
Hannah and Chelsea likes Kwan.
So I was like, is that a Korean last name? I was like confused. Maybe we figured out the secret sauce to happy couples.
What?
Maybe they needed to be upset by different things. Because I think my parents too offset each other very well.
Yeah.
Like, I think when I was younger too, my mom was always scary and my dad was like the one I would go to complain about my mom.
Right.
And then somewhere in the middle, I think it was like college, like a big switch happened. So now my dad just like nags so much, but my mom is so chill about like everything. So as long as like one is, you know,
Exactly.
like the one,
Yeah.
you just need one. But if both of them are like that, good luck.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Truly.
Wait, have you guys seen How I Met Your Mother?
No.
I tried.
Do you guys know what the olive theory is?
No.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I do. I do.
Wait,
Hey, Julie,
what is the olive theory?
Like, olives are a controversial food. Some people either really like them or really hate them.
Yeah.
And in like successful or like any relationship, it's like one person is gonna like them and one person's not going to like them. Do you guys know if your parents like olives? I like olives.
I think my mom likes olives.
My mom does. My dad does not.
I don't know about my dad. I'll need to ask him after this.
I think my boyfriend and I both love olives.
Well,
Yikes.
too positive.
well, we both like olives. But sorry,
Different
spoiler
types.
alert. But they both end up liking olives too.
Oh, do they?
But he just pretended to not like olives because
The olive theory?
yeah.
Really?
I didn't watch it. Someone just told me about it. That's all
Oh.
I know.
Oh, I
So Julie
see.
knew more about it than I did.
Oh my goodness.
Maybe you learned about it on our podcast because I feel like I talked about it.
I've never heard this in my life.
But also talking about like, you know, your mom and dad, pros and cons of being a twin.
Well, my sister and I, we went to basically elementary, middle school, high school, and undergrad together. So it always was nice to always have somebody else who knew what was going on, who lived in the same house as you.
Also, question: is it common for twins to go to the same college? I feel like I know. Oh, okay, no.
Well, actually not. No, I don't think so.
It's not uncommon,
All
right?
The twins in our graduating class of high school, I think we had like 7 or 8 pairs of twins. I don't think any of them
Wow.
went to the same school.
Except for you
Except
two?
us, yeah.
Oh, I did not know
Yeah.
that. Yeah, we also had a lot of twins in our grade.
Yeah,
Yeah, that is a lot.
So pros and cons about. So there was that. I'd say my sister and I got older, especially like in undergrad and like now, being twins, I think we started like talking and like sharing more about like our lives and stuff because we're like really not similar at all. Overall, just having someone else to look out for you who's going through the same stuff as you, and like, you know, we all know the same people, so you know that's like a good and a bad thing, I guess. I feel like because you go going to school together, you'll get compared more often than siblings. I've had teachers who said like, who had to pull me aside and were like, hey, why did your sister score so much better on this than you? I'm like, what the heck?
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Huh. So did you feel like you lost a sense of individuality when like those things happened?
I wouldn't say individuality. It was just, for me, I never saw it as like a put down. It was more of like, okay, I need to get to that level. Because my sister's very book smart. So it was always something for me to work towards. I know some people might not. I think it also has to do with how people take criticism. Like, I don't take criticism personally in the sense of like, oh, there's nothing I can do about it. I take it as like it's a challenge and like I want to get like to that level.
Yeah.
You know, I want to like
Right.
prove that person wrong.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, interesting.
So fun fact, actually, that exact mentality. This might not be the exact fact, but something similar and, something similar. What you just said is why you'll find more twins and only children in higher education. Like professions that require more education because of that exact, like when you're an only child, obviously, and you have like both parents, like you just have a lot of resources and all the attention is on you.
Right.
And then for twins, a lot of twins, I think, tend to have that type of thinking. Like they don't take it personally. It's more of like like they could do it. Like, yeah, I'm just going to get to that too. So if you didn't have that like side-by-side comparison, like literally side by side, like in the same household, you wouldn't be maybe as motivated, but because you do, it just like pushes you extra.
And it was only for academics because everything else we did different things. So I think it would have been hard. Like let's say if we're both guys or two girls, and let's say in addition to academics, they do like dance together or whatever, and one's way better. Well, if the one twin's always hearing that the other one's better in school, better at dance, better at doing this and that, then I think that's when it becomes a problem. But when it's only academics and everything else, it's like hard to compare because we do different things. It was just academic focus. It was like, okay, like I need to get my shit together and be performing at the same level my sister is, because she has access to the same resources that I do. So there shouldn't be a reason why I'm not performing at that level,
I know that in terms of like academics, like where we grew up was really, really tough. Like I think I've heard from my sister like way later down the line how she just like felt a lot of pressure because like I did well in school, and so she just like was like, oh, I have to like meet that standard. And like I do think that it can get overwhelming when you are like comparing yourself. And so did you ever feel like there was a moment where you're like, dude, I can't handle like the pressure of like trying to compare to your sister or anything like that?
I think there were times where even like if I was talking to my parents about it and they're like, oh well, your sister scored this, or did this, like why can't you put in the same work as her? I think that, there were times I wanted to lash out like, well, like why do you have to compare me to her or whatever. I know like there's like people have like conflicting viewpoints on whether you should be bringing up how the sibling is performing as a way to get the kid that you're talking to improve or do better.
Positive reinforcement.
Yeah, exactly. And like, for me, it just happened, on the broad spectrum of things, it motivated me, but I could totally see the other way around where you keep comparing them, and that kid who's performing less is going to either get jealous, they're just going to feel like they're always just going to be the one that's behind.
Right.
And you mentioned like at the start that your sister kind of had more leeway. She might have had it easier, or what was like, so you guys are, I'll say we're twins, you guys are twins, but like how is that treatment different, especially being different genders?
I think just because, we were talking about earlier about, at that high school age, because I feel like that's a lot when differences in terms of treatment started coming about, high school girls being a lot more responsible than high school guys. I think that was the reason why. So for me, they're like, oh my god, he's gonna get in trouble and like get arrested. I don't know. Because like at like the mall down there, they always like, my mom would always see the kids like sitting there with the sheriff. Like there were like 20 kids like sitting on the wall waiting to get picked up by their parents. So my mom, and this was when we were in like elementary school and middle school, so my mom said, oh my gosh, when like you get to middle school or high school, like you're gonna be doing that, and like you're gonna be the one seeing that. I'm like, how stupid do you think I am? Like I'm gonna get caught by the sheriff at the mall. I was like,
I'm gonna do things, but I will not get caught.
Yeah, and the kids were so scared that like 20 kids could easily have outrun one cop, right? Yeah. But he'd just be standing there, and they'd just be there like, oh my god, they probably thought they weren't gonna get into college. Like they didn't get any paperwork or anything. It's not, they don't want to give out tickets to kids. Like they don't care. They just want them not to be there loitering or screwing around or whatever.
Yeah, that story reminds me of a very.
Oh, you got arrested? Oh, me too. We got a room full of cons. Anyone else in here? Hannah, don't lie.
There was one time, and I know that this is what Julie's thinking of. So like our mall, we had an ice rink, right?
Yeah.
And it was like very much
it's like the mall.
The mall that we're talking about, where people would sit with the sheriff. There was an ice rink, and they didn't lock the doors at night. And so it became a thing for like people to go on there with their shoes. And literally the night before I was going to college, me and a bunch of my friends were having a sleepover, and we decided to go to the ice rink and just like fuck around. And oh my gosh, the lady came out, started yelling at us. She was like, you guys have been doing this for so long. Like, all the lights were on, which we thought was weird, but just like did not think to like not go on the ice.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm gonna call the cops. Dude, I immediately started crying, like bawling, being like, I'm so sorry. This is my last night before I go to college. like everything was running through my mind. Like, I'm not going to be able, like, they're going to rescind my offer within the next 24 hours. Like, my parents are going to be disappointed. Like, I cannot believe this is how I'm going out. Like, I'm so dumb and all of that. And then she was like, I think she started feeling bad enough because obviously I was bawling.
And you were making a good performance.
No, it was a great performance. I was like, wow, where is my Oscar? Truly, where's my Tony? Like, I was like, that's crazy. But she eventually, like, let us, like, run off. And so it was almost.
So everything you just said, real life example,
bro.
I know, seriously.
It was so
of what, girls being more responsible than guys?
I was referring to the kids looking like so scared.
Hannah was about
thinking
to be one of
about
them.
college.
Yeah.
Like, how am I gonna go to college?
Imagine she shows up to the dorms the next day and like, oh, we don't have you in our system. And then she's like, let me speak to the manager. And they're like, oh, you've actually been completely removed from the system. And then she sees her account balance that her tuition was refunded to her.
Dude,
What's your job?
sad.
I'm the school manager.
Yeah, exactly.
That is so sad.
Yeah.
Sorry, but going back to what you were saying, so just regardless of like high school girls being more responsible than high school guys generally, that obviously doesn't apply all the time. And then also, like Hannah was saying earlier about how the area we grew up in was very educational focused, and like getting to that level. My sister was always, did a lot better than I did with academics. So my parents' philosophy and raising us was like, your performance on academics lets us know how much like freedom you'll have, because if you can monitor yourself in your academics, then you're responsible enough to stay out later or do this or that. So my leash was always a little tighter.
Yeah.
No leashes. Like my parents
no child leashes.
No, but I've seen
that.
Like children in the backpack, but there's like a leash
but
tied to it.
I was in high school.
But like, can you paint this picture for us? Because truly from the outside,
like, what perks did Courtney have?
She was able to stay out later. They wouldn't ask as often or ask as many detailed questions. Like for me, it's like, where are you going? Who are you going out with? They never asked when I'm getting back, because they said you need to be back by like this time.
What was the time?
What
was your curfew for?
So it was
the first 24 years of your life?
Well, I didn't leave the house basically until high school. I had my license. When I think my curfew when I first started driving, like hanging out in like high school, so probably like end of my sophomore year of high school, was probably like 10 p.m. And then as like the semesters of school progressed and like I showed, I was like, my curfew time fluctuated based on how well I did in school. So if it was a good term, add maybe like 30 minutes, add another 15 minutes to that,
and then it would go back down.
And then if I did bad, then you pull it back down.
9:30. You better be home by 9:30.
I don't think it was ever. Maybe 9:30. No. Actually, no. It was either 10. It was either 10, or at that point, if they wanted to go lower, then just you can't go out at all. So 10 was kind of the sweet spot. Then it got pushed to 11, and then a little bit higher, and then now it's like whatever.
Whereas your twin sister Courtney's was what, like midnight, or just like no questions,
or like kind of like come home at a reasonable time. It was like they knew like I would be like out and like screwing around till like who knows whenever, because like our friend group, we'd be like out till like 3 or 4 in the morning, just like bullshitting or whatever.
No, there was one summer, dude, I literally was like, why am I hearing the birds chirp when I'm coming home?
Yeah, exactly. Or you start to see the sky light up.
Yeah.
Like, if the sky is lighter, then it's getting lighter. Like, oh shit, like I gotta get my ass home.
Oh yeah. What else besides curfew?
Pretty much that, because I feel like that was what, especially in like high school, that was the thing they were the strictest about, was like going out, like what are you doing other than school?
Schoolwork, yeah, and it's different from college, right? Like in college, you're like, you might have internships, you might have a part-time job, you might have like, but especially when we're in high school, everyone's schedule is it's just you have school, and then maybe you have like SAT or like extra tutors, and it's just hanging out with friends. So how much you get to hang out with friends depends on
and you're still eating meals at home, so you still have a regular schedule, whereas like college, it's all like class
Free for
at
all.
8 in the morning, then you don't have another class until 7 p.m.
Yeah.
at night or whatever. So you're on a
Yeah.
very regular schedule. So it's a lot easier to say, okay, I'm going to go to school this time. I'm going to eat at this time. I'm going
Yeah.
to do whatever at this time. And then last thing of the day is usually, okay, I'm going to go out and, hang out for a little bit.
Yeah.
Right.
But that's so interesting because usually, at least for I only have a younger sister, right? But I just always thought parents would be more strict on their daughters.
It's like a safety
Yeah.
concern.
Yeah.
I think, in a certain sense, yes, but I think they trusted her more in terms of like what she was doing. Like, let's say if we equated it and like, let's say she's going to a friend's house or I'm going to a friend's house and it's like in the area we live or whatever, safety wise, it's going to be the same. But for me, it would be like, okay, like get home earlier.
Maybe it's your friends.
It might be.
Yeah.
I
Bad
know they
influence.
probably think like, okay, if Courtney's going to her friends, they're probably like
Baking
like
cookies.
watching a movie together,
I'm sure
playing
my
with the
parents
pets.
didn't, yeah, exactly.
I'm
sure my
you're
parents
going
didn't
out.
think, I'm sure they didn't think high school. I mean, and for good reason too, But
Yeah.
like, I'm sure they didn't think, high school boys were just, talking at home. They were
Yeah.
always like up to like no good.
Up to
Yeah.
something.
Oh,
Yeah.
nothing legal,
Yeah.
but
But like a little bit of pyro
Yeah,
stuff here and there.
maybe.
Yeah.
What's pyro?
Exactly.
Um.
Yeah, Hannah, what's pyro?
Okay, I would like to clarify that like me and Chris are in the same friend group,
Yes.
right? And so the
And
only
everything
reason
was
why
Hannah's idea.
No, the only reason why I was exposed to any of this is because the guys, they just like really like playing with fire, like pyromaniacs. They just like really like fire.
My goodness.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, your parents had good reason. God,
Yeah,
great reason.
See now, Julie, no. Now, Julie, no. But we were always saying about it. It was about his fire extinguisher, and we never did it near any open brush. Okay.
No, exactly. No, he was again.
Okay,
Eagle
response.
Scout
Yeah.
of
Okay.
America.
Yes.
So
Okay.
Always prepared. Always
Yeah.
trying to be as safe as possible.
Yeah.
So it was
Cause
like,
the
it was safe
fire
fun.
and light it out too.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So your curfew, let's just stick with it was 10 o'clock.
Yeah. Yes.
I also had a curfew, but I think mine was more lenient than yours.
What was your curfew?
Okay, wait. Like your 10 o'clock was until 24. Like
Wait,
as
age
long as
24?
Yeah.
No. I'm 25 now. I just turned 25. Because it ended 2 months and a month ago.
Okay.
Dude, we still ask him, hey Joe, when you have to be back for your curfew.
It was a joke.
They'll say that, or sometimes they'll be like, "Oh, Cho, it's time to go home." And it'll be like 11 p.m.
That's
I'm like,
funny.
"Bro, really?"
Yeah.
Okay, but like post college, like during college,
Yeah.
did you have a curfew?
So that was hard. So like when I would come back for like breaks and stuff, I wouldn't really have a hard curfew, but it'd be like
But you still
12 or
would.
1. My parents would be like, "Where are you?" or whatever. And then
Yeah.
I don't know if it was because of this, but my dad started doing this like passive thing. He was like, "Oh, by the way, the hot water turns off at 1 in the morning," and I think that's the time he wanted me home. But he was like, "Oh, it shuts off, so it's not keeping the water warm while we're sleeping because it's a waste of energy or whatever." But I'm convinced it was to get my ass home early, so that I didn't, or otherwise I have to take a cold shower.
Oh.
So it was fine in the summer, like during summer breaks, I didn't mind it at all because cold shower or whatever. But like now, Thanksgiving break, winter break, it's like in the 50s outside. I'm not trying to come home and take a cold ass shower.
Oh, got it. Got it. Okay, I guess yours isn't. I took it literally. Like I thought you had a curfew until the age 24. So
it was a passive curfew.
so you had a curfew, I had a curfew, but I know Hannah never had a curfew.
Yeah. My mom grew up with like a very, very like strict dad. Like he was honestly like a bit intense from what I've heard. Like if they did not have it together, like havoc in the household. And so it was like to the extent that like if my mom like got into a certain college near her home, she would have to commute. And so my mom like lied to them. Like to this day, my grandparents don't know that she got into this.
What if they listen to our podcast?
Maybe. They're very supportive. But to this day, they don't know that she got into this very, very good school and that she chose to go to this like not as highly ranked school because she didn't want to have to do the commute. Like that is how strict they were. And so I think like with my sister and I, like my parents aren't dumb. Like they know that you're gonna do that shit anyways. And so they were just like, I would rather like trust that we like raised you right enough to the point where like you can make good decisions. Like just don't do stupid things. I mean, given I did not participate in any of the pyro stuff, I was just a bystander.
You know what, now that I think about it, having you and Chelsea, that was kind of like a good deterrent, because like if you see a group of guys, like only guy, like high school guys up to something, like, or just in the dark or whatever, they're like, oh shit, like they're up to something sketchy, but then maybe you see a couple girls with them too, and it's like, oh, you know, they're just talking or whatever.
Right. And so I think because of that, they were just like, just come home at a reasonable hour. And then I decided that reasonable hour for an entire summer was going to be 3 or 4 a.m.
Well, but then also they knew us like in the friend group too, so like they knew who like we were out with. Like I've known your parents for a long time, so it's like, I guess for them, even if like safety was a concern, like, okay, well, it's not just like, you know, Hannah out by herself, or like, you know, just 2 or 3 girls, like they're with like a group of people. So.
Yeah.
I don't know if this was recent, but didn't you also tell me like there was a period when you would come home when like your dad was waking up? And so like he would like either walk down the stairs or come out of the office.
We would meet in the kitchen. No, literally his morning coffee. I was like, oh god, hi. Did you just get home? Yeah, I got home a while ago.
I just couldn't sleep though because I wanted to see how.
I actually need some water. But like, no, my parents are pretty chill. But like, I mean, for you always talk about how like you weren't allowed to go to sleepovers, like how you had to kind of like pick and choose your battles. And so how did you like handle like the strictness?
I think in the moment it was really it was really difficult. I don't know, maybe I had it worse than you. Like so my parents too, or like I guess my mom, there was definitely a fear factor growing up, right?
Oh yeah.
And so everything like low-key, everything was like, everything I did I had to get checked like by my mom, right? Like like my schedule wise, like okay, like this weekend. And even that, it couldn't be like Saturday morning, I'm telling my mom Saturday morning I have this tonight. It had to be in advance.
Yep.
Like if I needed some type of donation check or like a Scholastic journal like book purchase, it could not be on the day or else I wasn't getting it, right? I think like my close friends in like high school and middle school like all kind of had similar, I guess they didn't even have curfews, right? Like all of you guys would always like hang out at like after Sunday service until God knows what, I don't know, like, you know, would having like, you guys would be having dinners together. But yeah, that was like not allowed for me. And so if I did want to hang out with the girls, I'd have to have them ask my mom, because like I knew if I asked, it'd be like an automatic no. But if they asked, my mom's not gonna be like, no, come home right now. You know what I mean? So like she knew too. But so in the moment it was really hard just because like my entire, like, because I was missing out on so many things, right? Like I think I mentioned this a couple episodes ago, but like when I look back at all the Snap memories, I'm not in any of them because I couldn't. Why are you laughing?
No, because I have something to add to this.
You know what? I'm not sad about it anymore though, you guys. It's okay. It's fine.
I get those memory notifications every day, but it's fine.
Yeah. It's fine. I just like, to me now, it's just like I look at it, I'm like, oh, what did I miss this time? And I get over it. But now when I look back at it holistically, I think it actually might have been the biggest proponent to like why I'm able to manage my time. Slash why I got myself to not have FOMO in college, because maybe my mom already knew I was going to go to college 3,000 miles away and was like prepping me for that. All right, what do you want to add to that?
So the reason I was laughing is because, you know, you were talking about, you brought up the thing about how your friends would have to ask your mom if you could go out. So I think this one time, like, I was like not doing well in a class or whatever. I was on house arrest basically, and my parents took my phone, but like I didn't tell anyone that they had taken it. They had texted me and they're like, hey Cho, like let's go hang out or whatever, and they thought, you know, I just was like ghosting them, or they just or that I wanted them to just show up at my house. So I'm like literally studying and I hear like 5 cars pull up like really fast outside my house, and they're in the driveway like blasting music, and this is like 8 or 9 p.m. like on a Saturday, and I'm like, okay, shit, like I know, like I start smiling, like, I know they're outside, and then but then my mom was like, oh, you know, or my parents were like, they were both like, you know, you can't go out or whatever. And then I remember my parents like, look outside, and then they look at me and they said, Chris, they said, are your friends outside? And I was like, yeah. I said, let me just go tell them to leave, that I can't go out. They're like, no, because you're just gonna talk to them and you need to be doing your work. And I was like, okay. And then the door opens and they still have the music playing, and then they see that it's my mom walking out there. Oh fuck. And then they turn the music off and they all just like kind of like slide down, and I'm watching them from outside, from inside. I'm just like cracking up, and they're just gonna like slouch down, and then they'll look at her and like she's like, hey guys, Chris can't come out right now, and they're like, oh, okay. And then they all just drove off.
Oh, 5 cars.
Yeah, 5 cars.
Peeled out.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my
And Courtney
gosh.
wasn't home because she was out hanging out with her friends.
She probably was. So I was home alone with my parents and the dogs. All my guy friends had come by to hang out, and I couldn't go outside.
So sad.
Yeah, like I knew my mom. This sounds so bad too, but she's I'm not saying your mom is not a sweetheart, but my mom, you can persuade her, you know? If you do it right, like if I was in your situation and she saw that I was studying for like maybe a couple hours, she would feel bad that all my friends were hanging out and I couldn't.
Oh, my mom
you
wouldn't
know?
feel bad. She'd be like, do you want to go to
Sucks to
college or not? No, she's like, do you want to go to college or not?
And so, would you categorize your mom as like a tiger mom? I know that was a really popular term. Like
When that book came-
when the book
What
came
book?
out,
What book?
there's a book called
I think it's literally called
Tiger Mom.
Yeah, and it's about, I think, Asian mom and Caucasian father. And they have 2 girls, and she was just on top of them. Tennis, piano, school, Kumon, SAT, whatever it is.
Kumon.
And then I think they both got into Princeton. or
That's
something.
great. Good for
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, but they did like a whole TLC like documentary on them about.
Oh, it's
like,
not a
what it was
book.
like. No, and a book.
It's both.
And
Oh.
she wrote the book on doing it.
They really profited.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
good for her.
Yeah. So she raised successful kids. I mean, I don't know how they feel about it, but she raised successful
Yeah,
kids.
they probably
and
need
she made money
therapy.
off of it. Like, good for her.
Right. And so that was really, really popular when we were in like middle school, high school ish.
Exactly. And then that's when the term came out, like, oh, is your mom a tiger mom? Oh, is your mom a tiger mom?
Yeah. And so would you categorize your mom as a tiger mom?
Yes, in like a certain way. And there's this like term of like helicopter mom versus tiger mom.
Yes.
I think a tiger mom is telling you what to do and says you're gonna do this. Helicopter mom
Right.
is watching you do everything like that. And I think people who have a helicopter mom, they don't necessarily develop that independence. I think people with a tiger mom do develop an independence because, my mom would be like, you're gonna do this, this, and this. Doesn't matter how you do it, find some way to get it done. Sometimes they'd have to, rally the troops and be like, okay, no, you're going about the wrong way. You need to try this way. But it was never like they're standing there watching me. It was just like they would say, hey, you need to finish reading this or doing this in the next 2 hours. Well, if I didn't finish in the next 2 hours, why didn't you do it? Okay, so now you need to cut this out. You need to cut this out so you can do it. Instead of sitting there with me for 2 hours, I say, why aren't you doing it? Why aren't you doing it? Why aren't you doing it?
Oh yeah. I think my mom actually took on like the like teacher method. So I think with teachers, if they're too nice at the beginning, they will get taken advantage of by the
For
students,
sure,
right?
for sure.
Whereas the teachers
Yes.
who are super strict at the beginning, like honestly, like terrifying,
Yeah.
they tend to like chill out, but then have already like earned
respect.
the respect, right? Like the kids are kind of scared of them because they can see that side. So I feel like my mom really, really well encapsulated that because even from like my close friends, like they say like, oh, your mom used to be the scariest. Like though she is a nice person and all of that, they have like seen the looks that she would give me when I was in like 4th grade, and they're like, oh my gosh, like I was shaking in my boots. Like that was another level. And so I think like that was definitely from like 4th grade to like maybe 5th grade, and then literally middle school, high school.
1 year?
I guess. Yeah. No, it was. It was like very much in that time period. Because also like it was when I had just moved to LA from the Bay. And so it was kind of like a transition. Oh, maybe it was just a transition period for everyone.
Yeah.
Like it was
Yeah.
new for her to be in such a crazy school environment as well. Like almost like pitting your kids against each other.
Yeah.
To be like, who's the best?
Yeah.
And so she definitely took on that tiger mom feature. And then I feel like it slowly was just like, oh, you're fine. Like you are honestly harder on yourself than I am. So in the end, like I'm grateful for it because I don't think like it impacted our relationship, because I think like oftentimes you hear from those kids who did have tiger parents growing up. I'm thankful for them for like getting me into school and like setting me up for like success in life, but then oftentimes they don't have a relationship with them because they just like it brings back so many like
trauma,
anxiety, harsh memories. And so I'm like grateful for like how she kind of strategized. I don't know if it was on purpose or what, but
maybe she needs to write a book.
Maybe
on the teacher method.
And
profit. She has a game plan going.
Yeah, she really does.
No, I agree with. I mean, you know what you said, Cho, about with like helicopter parents, or just like I don't know. It could be an aftermath of tiger parenting too.
Just how the kid takes it.
It's just so dependent on the personality of the child, because I mean, okay, like similar analogy to what we're saying, we're speaking more in the academic context, but like like we talk about this, like everyone now probably has heard of this once, but like drinking, when your parents are like so strict about it, or strip that away, like you don't have, not that like we should all be exposed to it, but you know what I mean. I just feel like the kids who go to college and just could not really fulfill that curiosity, like they go so ham, right? And so similarly, like when you're doing like all these things because you're so scared of your parents, or you know what I mean, like it's like, oh, like so the helicopter parent, like you're doing it because she told you to, or he told you to, and like you need to do it because, or else you know the aftermath is going to be like spanking or more studying or staying up later, right? Then by the time you get to like college, I feel like those students don't do so well academically either, right? Because they don't have that parent anymore to hover over them and like make sure they're doing what they need to do.
They haven't learned to do things for themselves. And the whole time they were taking as, oh, I'm just doing this for, you know,
it's not personal fulfillment.
My parents.
Which is so bad when you think about it, because then studying becomes like not what it's supposed to be, right? Because like we should all want to like be enrolled in that class. I mean, that's what I liked about college, right? Was like, oh, this is like the opportunity for me to take like astrology, like if I wanted to, or oceanography, and right, like so you get to take what you want, but studying in itself doesn't become something you do because you want to do it, right? It's just like, oh, to get that A, to
get to the next level.
And oftentimes I think like the motivation behind it is like fear. You know, like you're just scared of the consequences, which I think is like a big reason why you find a lot of kids who like do very well like on their assignments and stuff, but then like can't perform when it comes to like tests.
Ooh,
you know, because like the fear will like overcome, like it's just too much. Like they can't handle the pressure.
So you know what I think about like my experience? I definitely had like a hybrid parent. Like the way we're defining it, I feel like it could fall under both,
right?
But I think this is also when my love for talking comes in handy, is my parents would always bug me to ask like the number one student in my class, like the top 5 kids, like ask them how they studied, right? So I'd be like, that's so embarrassing, like why?
Because my parents want me to know. How do you study for this?
So I would, you know, like I'd have to come back with an answer, right? So I would just ask them. And I think honestly to them, it backfired, because all their responses were like, oh, like my parents like actually tell me to stop studying. Like they like say the weekend should be for like playing, like they think I'm doing too much. Like they never once pushed me to study. And so I would bring that home and I'd be like so-and-so's parents like never bug him to study, blah, blah, blah. And then I think that's why when I left home and my sister was in high school and I think my parents were struggling a bit just because like I wasn't there anymore. And I mean, not that I was definitely not like a parent, like a mother figure to my sister, but that's what I would tell my parents. That's what I found myself telling them often, is like, you need to just let her realize like it's her life, right? Like it's not like she shouldn't be doing this for you guys. Like, you guys might be disappointed, but if you like nag her too much and she's unable to take it, it's not going to be like for herself, like what we just said. And so,
I mean, I really like what you said about how, you know, as much as it is depending on how the parents, their child raising methodologies and ideas are, it's as equally as important as how the child takes it. And like that's the gamble that you have, is, you know, what one parent might do or, you know, seem as strict, one kid could take it as, okay, I'm gonna keep working to be better and better and better. Another kid could just say, you know, they reach a certain point and then from there on it's just, oh, it's just this constant pressure and they hate it, and it's just, and you know, no one knows what the right answer is. You know, they read all these books on how to, you know, raise children and whatever, but it really is just dependent on so many different circumstances.
Like, if any parents are listening to this, like, see your kids as individuals, right? Like, everything is so person dependent. Like, skincare is like that. Like, diets are like that. Exercise, everything is so different. So why would you raise your kids with the exact same like parenting method if you know that they like aren't thriving? Like, it's kind of like, you know, like the definition of like a crazy person, right, is like doing the same thing over and over again. And so like, if you are parenting like and you see it's not working, like, let's try something else. You know, let's go this other way and like find what works for your kids. LOL, me giving parenting advice. Not that I'm a parent.
Shout out Hana Lee.
Yeah, I love that so much. Wow. Yeah, no, I think like being in like the Asian community, we obviously have a lot of stereotypes that have built up for or against the strict upbringings that our immigrant parents or like second generation parents have adopted. And it's interesting that we like haven't talked about this yet. So I'm glad like we had you on the podcast, because I think obviously I make fun of you having a curfew until 24 for a reason. I think truly like you have one of the most like unique experiences of like growing up with a twin and with like relatively strict parents. And so yeah, thank you for sharing. Is there anything you want to leave our Kogis with?
Thank you for having me. Hope everyone has had a good Thanksgiving. And you know, hopefully finish out this year good, and you know, looking forward to 2022.
Did I ever tell you that my parents really liked your smile?
When did they see my smile? Oh,
at graduation. Yeah.
I didn't know I took my mask off. I might have
for photo.
Yeah. Or when I was talking to Julie or something. It was like kind of hot.
Well, even if you didn't, they were curious on who like took our photos for us, and then we took a photo, so I showed them the photo we took.
Oh, there we go.
So
I see.
Yeah, whether you took it off or not.
Random Asian guy.
As for me, I think I also had kind of an interesting, not necessarily upbringing, but I experienced an interesting parenting style. And luckily for me, I was able to kind of talk about what worked with me, what didn't work for me, like with my parents. I just remembered in high school, there was this one time we were in the car and she was so like I don't think she was actually going through menopause, but I just like persuaded myself, okay, that she was going through menopause.
Right.
And just I told myself, like, you know what, she's never raised a 16-year-old before. Like, she doesn't know. And so I think that helped me become more patient with like all the nagging. Like I said, my parents kind of did a flip-flop. So when at the height of her nagging, I really could have like popped off. No, there were definitely times I like slammed the door and like, you know, when like, did I ever, I don't think I broke anything, but I definitely did one of those, like, I wanted to scream at the top of my lungs, but I couldn't scream in the house. So I just like shoved my face in the, you know, in the mattress and the pillow, and you just like that, you know, one of those.
Yeah.
So I definitely had a lot of those, or like even like silent screams, but you make the facial expression of when you're like actually screaming. So like one of those.
No, absolutely, I understand that.
We'll go to those. But yeah, I just think like everything happens for a reason.
Yep.
And like I said, I decided to see the pros of it all. And I think because my mom was like tiger mom, it helped me to manage my time better, learn how to prioritize. So in hindsight, I thank my parents. So you know what? If you're going through this right now, it'll be over soon. It'll be over soon.
And give your parents the benefit of the doubt too. You know, there's no one that loves you more than your parents. So they're doing this for the first time just as much as you're doing this for the first time. So
I like what you said too. Like, your parents have your best interest in mind. Like, they like their love for you is so pure that like honestly, like, our parents have unhealed trauma. Like, they are also working through things. Like, they are just as human as you are. And so I think to keep that in mind is like really important. And so yeah, if you're going through like a really crazy parent situation, like I would hope that you just like stay resilient through it. Like, I know like that's really, really hard when you're in the middle of it, but I would hope that as time goes on, like you guys are able to develop a healthy relationship. So
awesome.
Yeah. Okay, you know how we end, right? Yeah, you ready?
1, 2, 3.
We all chose the same bitch. You know what it sounds like when like the kid in class gets in trouble?
Yeah.
You can find us on Instagram and TikTok at bulgogi.podcast, on Twitter at bulgogipodcast, me on Instagram at HANAKATTT.
At me at BEJULIFIED.
And no Instagram for me for the next 3 weeks. I'm going dark because I gotta study for exams.
His parents took away his phone.
Yeah, that's actually it. Yeah, they took it and they
Nice.
put it in a lockbox.